Good afternoon and welcome to today's video for Wednesday the 10th of December. This is take two. I've just recorded it, and for some reason the microphone didn't pick anything up. So anyway, we'll have another go, and because I've thrown all my little bits of paper away that had all my notes on, so I'm going to have to do it off memory. I haven't really got any career topic to talk about today, so let's get straight on today's work. I won myself a job yesterday evening. It was a small van job, collection from just north of Ipswich, just off the A14, for 8 o'clock this morning, going to Bishop Stortford. 53 miles, which I quoted £70 for, and got that, and I was quite pleased with that on a sort of pound per mile basis for a small van, first job. Got on site at 7:30 this morning, as I normally do, a bit early, and everything was ready. It's an engineering company, and got loaded, and I was away off site by 7:40, so good start. First problem of the day hit. Normally for that I'd just get back on the A14, go down to the Copdock roundabout junction with the A12, and then down the A12 to junction 25, and then all the way across on the A120 through sort of Coggeshall, Braintree, Dunmow to hit the M11. But there was an accident by the looks of it on the A120, and therefore I had to go the other way, which was back up the A14, then come off onto the A11 to pick up the M11, and that added an extra 25 miles on the job. It was going to be 25 minutes quicker. Anyway, it didn't matter. I got on site at 9:10 for delivery. It was a set of industrial units on a farm, but found it quite easily. And I was away off site there by 9:20. Parked up literally in the industrial estate. There was plenty of room and good internet reception. A few jobs around. This is where my memory is going to go. There was one job from Bishop Stortford going to Witney in Oxfordshire, and it was 107 miles, and I put on a price of £100, which I thought was a decent price, below £1 a mile for a small van, but it can be a bit of a funny area. Got a text message from the shipper, said, like to use you, but could you do it for 90? I've had some other bids at 90, could you do it for 90? And Witney in Oxfordshire is a little bit hit and miss, and I declined it. I thought, no, I've bid 100. That's what I want for the job. That's what I'm going to be happy. So I kindly declined it, and the shipper was fine. He said, okay, thanks very much. I'm sure the job got covered. Another job from Bishop Stortford that was going to Cambridge. 2 drops in Cambridge, medium wheelbase. It's only about 30 odd miles, but one was in the sort of town, one was on the outskirts. I quoted £80. I think probably in hindsight that was probably a little bit ambitious. Probably should have put it on at 70. In all honesty though, it probably might well have gone for 60. I didn't get that, but I did get the third job that I bid on, and that was one from Stansted Airport, which was going to Feltham. 63 miles, and I bid £90. It was a bit weird. It came up as a midi van job, but the actual job was one normal standard pallet, 120 by 100 by 140, and a Euro pallet. Not quite sure you'd get both of those on a midi van. Perhaps you would, I don't know. I've never driven one, never seen inside one. But anyway, not to worry, it was okay for me. Pleased with that price. I thought that was a good price, £90. I put that price on because you never know with Stansted exactly where you're picking up. It might just be from a warehouse. You might have to go to one of the customs sheds, and then you've got a bit of fanning around trying to get paperwork released and stuff like that. And the same with Feltham, never quite sure exactly where you're going to be going, but both the collection and warehouse were both standard warehouses, and I was on site for, I think it was about 10:30, off by 10:40, and delivery, it's typical on a Wednesday. I do like to listen to Prime Minister's Question Time. Don't ask me why, but I do. Every week is the same. I always get to a delivery or collection point just as it's about to start, and today was no different. I arrived in Feltham at 12:05, missed it all, and I was away by 12:15 when the main bulk of it had finished. But anyway, not to worry, I'm sure I'll still live. Parked up just near to the M4, to see what was about, and the airport was busy. I was having my lunch while I was scrolling, not something I normally do, but there was a few jobs around. There was a nice job from Slough going to Bury St Edmunds. No, sorry, not Bury St Edmunds, going to Norwich. 137 miles. I bid 150. I didn't get it, but that job was still there an hour later when I left. So not quite sure what they were looking for on that job. Job from Slough going to Bury St Edmunds, which I bid 80. Didn't get that. And a few other jobs, and I started bidding £50 for what was £70 jobs, and £60 which were for £80 jobs, and I still wasn't getting them. And we know what the airport's like. There was around 45-50 vans there. Yeah, and probably realistically, you just got to go at say 50p, 60p max a mile to try and get out of there. But anyway, I left it an hour. Got to 1:30 and I decided to skip out of there, make my way back to Essex, because I still felt I had a chance to try and pick a third job up of the day. The other thing as well, if you know around Heathrow, going down the M4 trying to get on the M25 gets very congested. The M25 between the M4 and M40 gets congested, and then the M25 as well starts to bottleneck around the M1 and the A1, and I wanted to skip all of that, and that's what happened. I really did. I just sailed down all the way around and took myself up to junction 7 on the M11 at Harlow. Can be a good area, Harlow. I've also got Bishop Stortford, I've got Stansted, I've got Dunmow, Braintree, I can also got Chelmsford. So I felt there's a good chance of nicking a third little job, and I did get one, and it was a job from Saffron Walden, which is the next town after Stansted Airport up the M11. You sort of go past it and come back on yourself. Small van job, 2 boxes going to Upminster, which is junction 29 of the M25. Upminster was where I was born, went to school, and lived all my teenage years and my early life, and a place I know very well. And ironically, it's a residential delivery, and it's the next road to where I was brought up. So we're going to have a little bit of reminiscing later on. £50 for that, 43 miles, but it gets me over the line. I've trickled over the line. So 3 jobs today, 70, 90 and 50, total of 210 over budget. The only downside, I'm going to do a little bit of extra dead mileage now, and maybe in hindsight, some of those jobs out at Heathrow, I should have just gone 50 quid, because I was literally 5-10 minutes from some of the pickups, and just swallowed my pride and swallowed my I don't know, business pricing, just to get out of there. Say that there was one to Bury St Edmunds from Slough, and if I'd done that for 50 quid, I probably would have just been about delivering that now, and I'd be home in 45 minutes to an hour, whereas I've got another 40 minutes to get to Upminster, and then probably an hour and 20 minutes to get home. But there you go, make your decisions. I know Dave from Anvil Logistics, he's very big on holding out for prices and not going too low, and that's absolutely the right thing to do. And there we go, we get on with it. I've beaten my target for today, so got to be pleased with that. I've also won a job for tomorrow, which is nice. 8 o'clock start in the morning, 100 mile plus job into a decent area, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. I hope you've had a good one yourself. It's been profitable. Obviously, I think next week is going to be the last week, really. I know from my wife's work in the city, people are now starting to pack up at the end of this week and leave. All those people that live and work in London, they all come from the rest of the parts of this country and overseas, and because everybody that works in an office nowadays gets 6-7 weeks holiday, they have their 2 weeks at summer, they have a week at Easter and bits and pieces, and then they have the rest of their holiday on at Christmas, and people literally do start disappearing from the 15th of December. We found this my last sort of 4 or 5 years as a taxi driver in London. Taxi work in London used to be so busy right up to Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day was the busiest day of the year by far. And so that last 4 or 5 years, it just started getting slower and slower and slower. And because people shop online, they weren't going to sort of the shops like they used to. But we'll see. Hopefully next week will hold out for us couriers. Anyway, we'll talk about that later on. Have a lovely evening, take care, and we'll talk again tomorrow. All the best now. Cheers, Paul.